Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits video. Today I am going to be taking our 2024 Honda Prologue, the Touring trim, down to Townsend, Tennessee, which is just below Knoxville, and I'm going to EVs in the Smokies. So I've never been to like a EV show or anything like that, so I'm very curious to kind of see what's going on, and just to see a lot of other EVs in my area. And so it's about 120 miles away, so it's just a little day trip. I'll probably only have to charge once just to get down there and then to get back. So so let's get into it, and let's go down to Townsend. Alright, so I've got some of my errands done for the day, and we are going to be headed down to Townsend. So I charged to 80% last night. I'm now sitting at 76, and I think I mapped it out, and hopefully, I hate this stupid start button. Hopefully we will get down there with about 40%. This right now is showing 32%, but this is always very, very, very pessimistic. So we'll see what we get down there with. I'm gonna bet it's gonna be around 40%. So basically we're up here in Johnson City, Tennessee, and we're gonna go up 26, down 81, which turns into I-40, and then down the Sevierville exit down to Townsend. So my plan is to get down there, like I said, with about 40%, and then we are going to probably go to White Pine right here. There's a GM Pilot Flying J charger right there. So that's probably where I'm going to charge on the way home. And we got about $600 or $700 worth of charging from EVGo whenever we got this car. So I'm going to use up some of that because we do not have any EVGo stations locally. So that White Pine one is the closest one to us. So I'm going to use every bit of that while I can. So let's head on down to Townsend. So just a couple gripes that I have with this Prologue, especially at the $56,000 MSRP. I did not pay that, luckily, but if I did pay $56,000 for this, I would not be happy with just not having lane keep assist. I mean, that's like a very standard thing that Model S's had 12 years ago. And so this car 2024 not having lane keep assist is just crazy. One other thing is I love the software on this car, and I said in a previous video that I think I actually prefer the software in this car over the software in the Tesla Model Y, and I'm going to show you why real quick right here. Luckily, like I said, this car does not have lane keep assist, so you have to steer it yourself. First world problems. But luckily this does have adaptive cruise control, so I can set it to 65 like it is right now, and if there's a car in front of me, then it'll keep like two car lengths between us. So that's kind of nice. You don't really have to pay that much attention, and I mean, it can keep you from not hitting the car in front of you. So that's a plus, I guess. But I do really wish that this car had like standard autopilot like what's on my Model Y. So as you can see, I have the nav set to going to Townsend, and you can see here that, I mean, this is just Google Maps built into the car itself. It has 4G, has its own SIM card, so that's kind of standard for any modern car. But so this is just built into the car, and it just uses regular Google Maps like how your phone would. So it has route planning and stuff like that, but it also has, like right here, it's showing that there is construction in that little area where that little orange dot is. So this will also warn me, like if people have reported police ahead or anything like that. I'm sure you've used Google Maps. That's not a new thing, but my Tesla does not have that. So my Tesla does use Google Maps, but it does not have the built-in, route planning and stuff like that, like how this car does. So I'm really a big fan of how GM and some other automakers are just using Android Automotive, I guess, for having Google Maps built in, the Play Store built in. I mean, this is really just usable software without having to connect your phone, and I'm a pretty big fan of that. Yeah, so we are about 2 hours away, and you can see it's still showing 30% arrival. I'm betting that's going to be around 40% whenever we get there. I think this is really good software, especially for those who this might be their first EV, because this is always very pessimistic. And so if you do any kind of route planning where, I mean, if you're going on a long road trip or something, then it will get you to those chargers at a higher state of charge, which for us is probably not best, but for people using this, just the built-in software, this is their first EV, I think this is a really good, software to have in the car. For us, we're probably still better off using like a better route planner or something like that. But I mean, your standard EV buyer is not gonna know about that yet or anything, and they might not ever use that. So like I said, I think this is just really good software for those who this might be their first EV. Alright, so we are almost there. We are 3.1 miles away. It looks like between what the Honda said and what I said, it has split the difference. So we're going to arrive with 35%. I said 40%, it said 30%, so we're right in the middle. So we should still have enough to get back to White Pine, which is probably only about 50 miles away. So that should be pretty easy to do. So once we arrive, I've never been to one of these EV events, but I know there's a place to get lunch, and I'm just going to hang out a little bit, and then we're going to head back home. All right, so we have arrived, and looks like we averaged about 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is actually really good for this car. I think that we lost some elevation, so it should probably even out on our way back home. But it shows to get home, it's another 119 miles, or a negative 15%. So we shouldn't have to be at the GM EVGo station for very long. I will probably charge to 80% just because we have some free credits that we haven't used, and they are going to expire, so might as well use the free energy. And I'm curious to see how long it would take to get up to 80%. So, you know, like I said, White Pine is right here, and that is about 40 or 50 miles away. So with us sitting at, what state of charge are we at? We're at 36%. I mean, that should be very easy to do. So like I said, I just got here. Everything is right over here in this area, so I'm gonna go into this place, get some lunch, and go check everything out. Well, I got some lunch and I walked around a little bit. I got some footage from the event. It's mostly just for like anybody that has questions, you know, being like a first time EV owner, or you know, possibly being an EV owner. They are here to just answer questions that you might have about like range anxiety or how the batteries work, how often you have to replace them, and things like that. There are also some sponsors, like for they had like the local GM dealership here showing off some of the like the Hummer EV and the Silverado EV and some of the Cadillac options, and so it's just really cool. They had some other things here, like writing letters to some of the senators for the bill that is in the Senate right now, to, I guess, not pass it because it would impose more taxes on those of us who do own EVs. And so just really cool community, and I really enjoyed it. I got to talk to some people just about, you know, what the Drive Electric Tennessee Association is all about, and so I signed up for their newsletter, and yeah. So now we are going to just head back home, back to Johnson City. So that's about 120 miles away. And so, like I said, I'm going to just stop in White Pine. Probably the car won't think that we can get there, but we'll see. I know that we can get there. But like I said, this thing is always very pessimistic with its battery estimations. So I'm going to put that in the nav here and we'll see what it says. All right, so if I just hit home, it says negative 13% charging needed, and it's wanting us to stop in Kodak, which is very, very quick. That is like, that's not very far at all. The White Pine one right here is only like 50 miles. So I'm gonna push it to White Pine, especially since we have those charging credits that we need to use up. I believe they expire at the end of the year. So yeah, I'm just gonna stop in White Pine, and I'll see you guys whenever we get there. So I was just walking around that little EV thing myself, just by myself. I'm kind of awkward by myself, and I was walking by one of those new Equinox EVs, and I was just thinking, man, like I would love to just trade in my Model Y on one of the Equinox, because it has the same battery as what's in this Prologue. It's smaller, it's more efficient, the screen is nicer and everything, and I just think that would be really nice. And I heard somebody else talking, and they were like, I just don't know that I could do without Apple CarPlay. And so that just kind of shows you how much CarPlay has just taken over the market, and where GM just doesn't have CarPlay or Android Auto. I mean, I think it's great. Like I said, I love the software that's in these GM vehicles. Even though I'm in a Honda, it's the same software, and I love it. I think it's great. You can download any app that you want to. They have more apps on there than Tesla offers on their cars. So I like the software a lot. I like it. It would be a bigger battery, more range. I mean, that would be awesome. So I would love to have an Equinox EV. I think that would be sick. So I'm on my way to the White Pine charger, and this is one thing that is bad about this GM software, is if you are a first-time EV user, or you know, just even like test driving this car, or getting it for a rental or whatever. I mean, it's showing that I'm gonna stop at this charger and be there for 29 minutes in order to get to Johnson City, which is only like another 80 or 90 miles. So that's totally not true. I will not be there for 29 minutes or 30 minutes as it's showing now. I will probably be there for 15 or 20 minutes, I would say. So I will let you guys know. I mean, I really only need probably 20% in order to get home with like 10%. So I wish that you could just put your desired state of charge at arrival in this. I think that would be a pretty good update. And you know, if these estimations here could get a little bit more realistic, like the estimations for the battery percentage arrival and how long you're going to be at the charger, I think that would be very welcomed, and that would, you know, show people the realities of driving these cars and how it's really not that bad. I'm driving 250 miles. I could have done it 100 if I charged to 100%, but I only charged to 80%, and I'm only going to have to stop for a few minutes. So, I mean, I think this is very realistic, and this is why I like driving electric. It's very cheap. It's very efficient. I like the powertrain, and it's a lot smoother, and you know, there's all sorts of advantages that we all know and love about EVs, and I just wish that this software here would kind of show that in a better light. All right, so we have arrived here at the GM Pilot Flying J EVGo station, and there's a pretty sick Lucid charging over there. So I'm going to get this session started on the app. To see the state of charge, you have to turn the car off. We're at 20%. So again, I'm probably going to charge to about 80. We'll see how it goes. One thing I have learned about these cars from GM is that they like to charge while the car is off. If you have the car on with the AC going, it won't really rip the cooling for the battery, and so the battery will overheat very quickly. So yeah, I'm just going to keep the car off and let it kind of do its thing, and I'll let you guys know how quickly we charge here. All right, so we have started charging. It says 19%, must have dropped right down from 20, and we're starting to ramp up. I'd say we'll max out at about 150 kilowatts, maybe a little bit less. So yeah, again, I'm just going to let the car kind of do its thing, and I will let you guys know whenever we're at 80%. So we've been charging now for about 15 minutes, and we've only put in 33 kilowatt hours, which is not the best. My Model Y will do like 40 to 45 kilowatt hours in the same amount of time. And we are all the way down to 75 kilowatts. I looked at the battery temps on here, and the battery was sitting at around 46 to 47 degrees Celsius. So this is showing 20 minutes to 80%, but again, this is always very pessimistic. It said 35 minutes to start. We've already been here 15 minutes, so I'll keep you guys updated with when we get to closer to 80. All right, so we have finished, and that was horrible. 36 minutes to 20 to 80%. So we added 59 kilowatt hours, and that would have costed $37.57, but for me it's gonna be free. But yeah, so we are at 80%, and let's see about us getting home. I was saying we're gonna get home with 44%. I bet that'll be closer to 50%. So yeah, that is it for this leg of the trip. So I will see you guys whenever we get back to Johnson City. So like I said earlier, I would really like to have an Equinox EV, but you know, after sitting here and charging 20 to 80 in like 36 minutes, I mean, that's very bad. Around 40%, I think the battery overheated, and it just never really recovered until about 70%. So the cooling system in this car and in, I guess, all of these Ultium vehicles just aren't up to where it should be. So they need to get the battery cooler, or they need to allow the battery to get a little bit warmer, or I think it's just because it's asking for 500 amps like the entire time, because the voltage on these cars is just so low. So in order to get any kind of reasonable speed, you have to have a lot of amperage, and that induces a lot of heat. So yeah, so I'm kind of, I do like the Equinox. I think it would be cool. You know, the build quality and stuff on my Model Y just isn't the best, but I couldn't afford to get another car right now anyways, but you know, just kind of always looking at what's next. So maybe the Equinox EV will not be it, because road tripping and everything, I don't think that this Prologue would be a good road tripper. I think our Tesla would be a much better road tripper than this car. Yeah, so just gonna hold on to the Tesla for now, and I would like to get the Tesla paid off and everything, and just kind of drive it till the wheels fall off. So I'm kind of curious to see how high mileage, you know, old EVs age, and so I plan to keep the Tesla for a while. But you know, just a thought. So I will see you guys whenever we get back to Johnson City. All right, so we made it back home with 51%. So this Google Maps battery estimation is very pessimistic, as I have said multiple times throughout this video. It was originally saying we would get home with like 40%. We got home with 51, and I was going like 80 allegedly the whole way home. So yeah, so it was a great trip. We averaged 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour, going about 250 miles, and so that would be about 350 watt hours per mile for you Tesla people. And if I could average the 2.8, if I could average the 2.8 miles per kilowatt hour throughout the whole battery, then that would take me 238 miles. So, you know, this car can go about 240, 250 miles realistically. And that's with the 85 kilowatt hours usable. This battery is actually 90 kilowatt hours. So you could actually go a bit further if you really wanted to go below zero. I had a great day. I had a great trip today, you know, just learning, I guess, about what Drive Electric is in Tennessee. You can get Drive Electric license plates and stuff for your car if you really want to. And so they're just really trying to educate people, you know, new EV buyers and people who are curious about EVs. They're just trying to educate them, which I think is always a good thing. And so hopefully, you know, as the EVs take up more and more of the market, then things like this are going to be even more important, because people are going to be learning new things about these cars. And so I think, you know, places like that, places like this for, you know, YouTube channels and stuff is very important, just for people to learn more about how these cars work, how they can you know, fit into their lives and save them money. And yeah, so I think that's kind of something that we can all agree upon, is that EVs are just awesome. They are very smooth. They have a lot of torque. There's a lot of, you know, pros and cons to EVs that we can talk about another day. So yeah, so I had a great trip. I'm back here, like I said, at 51%. I usually charge this car to 50% every day, so that's perfect. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.